Welcome back to Relative Weddings Explained. I'm Aubrey Boyd with my wife, Deidre Boyd.
Hello, everyone.
And we're here with the engineer extraordinaire, Mr. Perry, and we're going to explain each chapter to you in detail and give you some backstory. I hope you like and enjoy.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Chapter 10 of Relative Weddings, Double Trouble. So, as we start out this episode, Judy is trying to figure out how to pay for this take two. And, of course, they want to try and avoid the mistakes of their first try at the wedding. But, you know, in terms of how they're going to raise the money, they're going about it in much the same way. They're back at the Blu-ray Gentlemen's Club doing another car wash / twerkathon. And with what is the owner's name again?
Tim, that's right. And Tim is very excited. He's elated to have them back again for another try. And even though, you know, like we said before, it might be a bit of a bait and switch that they're outperforming out front and they're not actually in the club, it still seems to be working out pretty well for them. all right, brings more money and more sales for him.
Right.
Free advertisement.
And for them, for sure. And they don't raise as much as the first time, but they get a lot out of this one, right?
Yeah, close to $6,000, was it?
Yeah, they got $6,000 plus he donated $2,000. That was $8,000 to help get the venue.
Right.
Right, because Judy's pride wouldn't let her Teresa, you know,
Pay for everything
for this wedding. So once again, here we go.
Right, because Teresa makes an offer this time, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
To pay for everything.
Yeah, but yeah, Judy just doesn't want to do that, which, you know, understandable. She's got too much pride for that. So, well, now, of course, the title of this episode comes from the fact that they decide to have a double wedding. Mm-hmm. And they kind of mention it seems like as a joke at first, like people will, like, hey, why don't we just do this together? And then they're like, whoa, wait a minute, maybe this could work out.
Yeah.
Now, does this come from anyone that you all have known? Have you ever known anyone to have a double wedding?
No, not at all. Not at all. But it makes sense.
I've never known anyone either, but I feel like I've seen it. That, you know, there are people who do it, although usually, I don't know, maybe it's a cult that'll have like multiple weddings or something.
Twins.
Oh, yeah, twins.
Yeah. So that way they can both be at each other's weddings.
I thought it'd be a good way to tie them both in, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, we don't hear what any of the anyone else has to say about it, but I guess, you know, that's the way it is. No one else has a say. So,
well, they again, their friends also support them, and you know, they help them with the car wash,
right,
and helping her get some more money. I'm sure they all use their EBT cards again.
Yeah, they say that they're recharged since the last time.
That's right, monthly. Well, they probably even more.
And of course, as they're trying to build up more cash, Tim just keeps wanting them to come work for him at the Blu-ray. In
Always
fact,
recruiting.
Do any of them go to work for Tim?
No.
No one decides to get some a side hustle, huh?
Yeah, those girls won't do that. They're
Not those
women.
girls.
Well, so I do remember that they choose indoor venues this time, though, or an indoor venue.
Yeah, because they both had outdoor weddings during this scenario, and neither one of them worked out. So
No, one sister had an outdoor, the other one was indoor in the church. The one caught on fire. Remember they were walking down the aisle.
that's right.
I thought
that's
that was at
right.
Botanical
The
Garden.
Botanical Gardens.
Yeah, but it was a set up part of Botanical Garden.
Oh, it was
okay.
a
They
cover.
still had the owl, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the weather didn't. I don't know what kind of day it was for hers, but definitely it wasn't the weather that
No.
got her
The
all,
weather got her.
all
She just
hot
caught
and-
on fire.
There's the industrial glue.
Right.
Miss Ling tried. She tried.
Look nice.
Well, so they definitely seem like they're heading in a new direction this time. But what did give you the inspiration to have them have this wedding together at the same time?
I just wanted to show that the sisters could come together after a tragedy or something sad in their life and come together and still make it possible.
Yeah.
And that's what, again, this sisterhood and showing that, you know, they're going to have each other back regardless. And you see how Judy's friends just stepped up, and Teresa already had her money put to the side. Plus, her fiance is rich anyway. She was going to get her wedding regardless. She really helping out her sister.
All right, she didn't want to leave her sister behind.
Mm-hmm.
They both had this dream.
Just they were little girls.
Right.
Right, and followed through on exactly those dreams. Or at
Almost.
Least, well, yes, almost. I guess what it kind of reminds us is sometimes our vision especially when we're kids or when we're young, of what we think will be the perfect wedding, and with many things, the perfect life in many ways, doesn't always quite work out that way. And there are certain realities, and the weather and a lack of spicy chicken can be some of those realities.
Circumstances, yeah. Not always come into, what you thought, what you wrote on paper.
Right.
Basically, the girls are taking a long way around to see their dream be fulfilled.
Yes.
So they tried it one way, it didn't work, so they'll try it together. Separately, they couldn't do it, but together, they made it happen.
Well, and I'll be interested to see. I'm sure as you go into book 2 and book 3 that there's going to be an evolution of the characters and sort of where they are with their relationships. And I know you don't want to give too much away, but to who might be working out for the better and maybe not so much, and kind of how they're all still interacting as in relationships and as family in the years to come after this.
Yeah, part 2 would basically be, about a little bit about the honeymoon. Then it's going to be like a 5-year period later. And then you get now after the wedding bliss, after the newlywed stage, now let's see how these relationships are working out.
Yes.
That's the second book in a nutshell. It's going to be.
Yeah, and I caught a little glimpse, and it's something that you're going to want. You're really going to be excited to hear about.
Excellent. I look very forward. Well, and I've always said a wedding does not a marriage make. And, the wedding is wonderful and it's great, but it's when everyone's at their best. Once again, not everyone's at their best. Sometimes there are some rough moments in weddings that can make some people behave in certain ways. But it still is a high point oftentimes. And life comes after, and that whole marriage is much more difficult often. And so it will be interesting to see what they go through and how they maneuver that as time goes on.
Right, the turning page to the next chapter.
Right. And if, they start families or things like that, that'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. And also to hear more about who, what is the adopted father's name again?
Robin.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear more about who Robin is and how he came into their lives, and maybe what his life was like before. I don't know if we're going to hear any of that, but who he was before he came into their lives, like what his backstory is.
Exactly. We'll have more details on Relative Weddings too. This main one, the first was, like I said, was just to introduce the girls and be more of the story about them. Now we can branch out on the second one to more characters, more details. More backstories.
Are we going to hear any more about the Blu-ray Club?
Gotta wait and see. Yeah, I liked how the girls, especially when the fiancés came to cheer them up or check on them, how they questioned their love. Like, would you love me if this happened? Would you still love me if I look like this?
Right.
And, that's the question you're gonna have to answer, guys, if you're gonna get married. You know what I mean? And you got to be, and I love how the guys just said, of course I would. You got to be there for them.
Right. And I guess we'll see in future books if they can follow through with those words.
Mm-hmm. But I love how they came back and checked on him, because you have to, especially Luke, because he was out of town.
Right.
And he came back early just to check on her, because he knew that devastated her more than him.
So, it was a good way to establish that connection they have at this point.
Right. And I wonder how Miss Mary felt about the disaster, the fiasco.
You saw what Teresa said in this chapter, like, I bet your mom was happy that this wedding didn't work out. And he was like, nah. He like, my mom will warm up to you eventually, She's like, no, she hates me.
And sometimes in-laws do not warm up to you, or they might become more civil, but I've been there.
But you see how he reassured her, though, that, hey, it's not about my mother. It's about me and you against the world. He made sure he told her that at the end of the chapter. It's me and you against the world, babe.
Yeah.
My mother has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, and that is true, although it certainly makes life easier, especially if your significant other is close with their family, spending all those holidays and things. It can be tough when the in-laws are just not your biggest fan.
Yeah.
And once you become married and have that new union, that is your family now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's a true testament and how the sisters stuck together
mm-hmm.
in this time of adversity. And they're not stepsisters, but they're extended sisters, her friends.
Yes.
They all came back to make sure she was okay, and they all stood by their word on making this the best wedding ever for her.
And that's an excellent point. As we talked about her friends and her support network, but as you said, an extended family.
Correct.
And that reminds us that, yeah, we have our families that we can't choose our families, but we can choose our friends, and sometimes our friends choose us, but that is that extension of our family sometimes is the people that we're really close to.
I come to experience in life, blood don't make you family.
Yeah.
Sometimes friends are more family than your own relatives are. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, it
So
can be
blood
very
doesn't
true.
make you family. Just because you're blood don't mean yet the guys are going to be close, or you can trust, or they're trustworthy.
Right, right. As Billy Ray is testament to.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for Judy and Teresa, they had two different ideas of their wedding. So for them to come together, we'd like to see how this is going to come together and play out as one joint wedding, like the different plans, the new bridesmaid dresses. They have the money now. What is it going to look like?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They because they're so different and have had such different visions, how are they going to meld that together into one event that they can both be happy with?
I don't know if you can buy Popeyes with EBT.
And we'll have to see how Judy feels about Popeyes and if it is wedding challenge worthy.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we'll have to find out in the coming chapters. So join us again next week for chapter 11.
Well, thank you guys, and please continue to watch Relative Weddings Explained.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us again for Relative Weddings Explained. If you could please assist us by hitting the like, subscribe, and notifications button. You can also comment and share our content. These small things really help our channel and mean a lot to us. This is going to be it for now. Until next time, remember, you are cherished by us.